Love and Thunder. We finally saw it, and here's our review.
Thor enlists the help of Valkyrie, Korg, and ex-girlfriend Jane Foster to fight Gore, the God Butcher, who intends to make the gods extinct. That is the movie Thor Love and Thunder.
We finally saw it. It took us a little bit to see it, although we like to see these movies when they first come out, especially these Marvel movies. We were busy. We didn't get to see it. We finally did. Here's our review. I was going in there with very low expectations because the reviews on IMDb or Rotten Tomatoes or from our Patreon group weren't the greatest.
From our Patreon group?
Yeah, remember someone posted, I saw Thor. That's the post. That's it.
I didn't know how to take that, so I felt like it could have gone either way.
The short, to me, if you leave a review and it's very short and you're not excited about it, you're going to leave a review like that.
It's interesting that you say that IMDb gave it a low rating because when I go to Thor Ragnarok, which I thought was really good, it's not that much different. So Thor Love and Thunder got a 6.9 out of 10. And if you go back to Thor Ragnarok, which it featured in 2017, it got a 7.9. So it's not hugely different. I thought it would have gotten way higher.
You know what happened is Thor Love and Thunder followed Ragnarok in the series of Thor, not necessarily in the Marvel movies. And Thor Ragnarok was such a unique movie at the time. It was different. It was coming off of a dark world where it was very serious and a dark movie. And then Thor Ragnarok brought this humor and comedy that Chris Hemsworth brought that we never really saw from him before.
That's true.
So it was different.
Yeah.
And I think what happened was Thor Love and Thunder, people walked into it thinking about Ragnarok and how Ragnarok was a very unique movie, and maybe their expectations were a little too high. And maybe they tried a little too hard with the comedic relief in Thor Love and Thunder, and it didn't hit as well as it did in Ragnarok.
So is that your opinion as well?
Yeah, I think if you go to Rotten Tomatoes, it has an audience score of 78% and a critics percentage of 68%. And I agree with the audience. I don't know if it was exactly an 8 out of 10. If you had to say, rate this movie out of 10, I would say it was probably a 7 out of 10.
Audience says, even though Thor Love and Thunder's constant silliness makes it hard to invest in the more serious sides of the story, there's still plenty here to enjoy.
I thought it was a fun movie. I don't think it was the best Marvel movie we've ever seen or they've ever made, but I thought it was entertaining enough to not make me want to look at my watch and say, is this movie almost over?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever felt that way on any of the Marvel movies, but what did you think of the inclusion of the Guardians of the Galaxy crew in the movie itself? Yeah.
I thought it was going to be a lot more.
Yeah, so did I. And I felt a bit like it was a little off in the sense of, remember when in Spider-Man where I believe Iron Man made his appearance and it was almost like unbelievable?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I felt about Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, were they really there? They just didn't seem like themselves, maybe. I don't know why I felt that way. But
If I was the Guardians of the Galaxy, I would not have shown up for the premiere. I would have been thinking to myself, I'm barely in this movie. Why do I got to go to the premiere for? Why do I have to do all this marketing and advertising for the movie that I'm barely in?
That's true, right? Like, dude, does Nebula really, although she does steal the show, I think, steal the movie with just one line from her is epic.
I have to Google how much they got paid to be in that movie because it wasn't long. It was, spoiler, we're going to go, if you're listening to this and you haven't seen Thor, you may want to stop because we're going to talk about some spoilers probably in this video moving forward. But they were in the movie for what's felt like 3 minutes.
I'm actually typing it up right now.
And I want to know how much money they got paid for being in the movie for 3 minutes. Now, I know they're big stars, and that 3 minutes in actual acting time and being on set was probably a lot.
Yeah.
But for me, 3 minutes was way less than I thought it was going to be.
Well, Chris Hemsworth was paid $20 million to star in Thor Love and Thunder.
Well, you know what's funny? Chris Hemsworth, you know how much he got paid to be in the first Thor?
How much?
It was $150,000.
You're lying.
No, he was nobody back then. When he first starred in the first Thor, he wasn't the big actor you think of today. He was a very not well-known actor, and they were pretty much giving him a shot.
Okay.
And
that just seems so ridiculously low compared to what they get paid now. I can't even wrap that around my brain.
I think he did a great job. I think one of the highlights of this movie is Chris Hemsworth playing Thor.
Yeah.
I don't think Natalie Portman did a great job.
So I think that's the disconnect. I'm going to say it. Bruce, maybe you should put earmuffs for this, but I do think that maybe some are just not a huge fan of Thor having a love interest. I'm going to say it. And there's nothing wrong with Jane Foster and Natalie Portman, but I just think that us ladies don't want to see him have, anybody that's significant.
I don't know if it's that. For me, it's definitely not that. I don't care who Thor likes or doesn't like. I don't think it was the best portrayal or character in the movie. I don't think it was believable.
It wasn't. And she has a really deep voice too, and it made it also seem a little unbelievable during some lines. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. She's generally a great actress.
Yeah.
In this movie, her acting just to me wasn't what I was expecting.
I actually, if Thor has to have a love interest, I actually was hoping for King Valkyrie because I love Tessa Thompson, but there is a little twist on Tessa Thompson in the movie itself, which is really fun to see and watch. And I really loved Gore, which was played by Christian Bale.
Well, he's great.
He's a really top-notch actor, and he played one of the best villains roles I've ever seen. I thought his performance was really great. It was spooky. It was great to see in the actual theater. I don't know if the effects are going to come through enough when you see it at home.
So the movie is based on Thor hanging out with Guardians of the Galaxy in the beginning. He's trying to find himself. He's getting back in shape from his binge that he was on with the when Asgard was destroyed, and he's getting to try to find himself and what his meaning in life is. In the first scene where Thor was fighting, it was a little corny, I'm going to say. Like, I liked the soundtrack of Guns N' Roses was cool, but it was a little corny, the fight scene. I think they overdid it a little bit on that part.
Okay.
And then he goes to Asgard, or back to Asgard, and he finds out that the Gore is coming, who is the
creepy guy.
Yeah, the creepy villain guy who is trying to kill all of these gods, and then he has to fight him. That's the basis of the story.
Right.
And
you find yourself kind of thinking about it during the movie, like, wait a minute, does Gore have a point? I mean, there were times in the movie where you're like, wow, the gods are not exactly what I expected them to be.
No, exactly, especially when Thor goes and meets Zeus, right? And Zeus is kind of this fumbling idiot, so to speak, where he's this all-powerful being, but he's not really taking his role seriously.
Our kids really loved the play on his Greek accent during the movie that he had.
Yeah, you guys are Greek, so our kids are Greek, so the accent. What do you think? Did he get it right?
It was a little forced, but they still nonetheless found it entertaining. We did see.
You know what it reminded me of?
What?
It reminded me of our brother-in-law, who, when he talks to your mom, tries to do the accent. I don't know why, it subconsciously does it.
Yeah.
It reminded me of that.
Yeah.
It was like somebody who doesn't really obviously speak Greek.
Right.
Trying to do a Greek accent.
Like trying to talk English and hoping that by changing the accent, she would understand the language better. Yeah, exactly. It was happening. There is some of, obviously, in Thor Ragnarok, they expose some of the story of the gods. Like, that's what the whole point was with King Valkyrie and why she chose to go against them. So you do get a touch of that. It's more the story in this movie. Now, I have to say, Thor Love and Thunder, the ending is epic, and I don't really want to talk too much about it because I know that there are a lot of folks that haven't seen it yet. I just think so Love and Thunder, you'll get it at the end of like what that really means. And for me, I think they could have started the whole movie that way and it would be epic.
Well, that was his real daughter.
Did you confirm that? I
confirmed.
thought you were just making that up.
No, it's confirmed. There was a lot of family members in this movie, and that was Chris Hemsworth's real daughter.
Well, I think they could have done the whole plot and the whole movie with that right off the bat. I went into it with kind of, I guess, mediocre expectations. It was a good film. I thought it was fun. It's always fun for us as a family to go see any kind of Marvel movie because it's something that the whole family is interested. We never have to push or pull anyone to kind of join us, and it's always like a good time.
I thought the ending was the best part of the movie.
I agree. That's what I was saying earlier.
And people were saying Tessa Thompson didn't do a great job or have a great part in this movie.
She didn't have a large role like she did in Ragnarok, and that was disappointing because she is such a great actress, and she has such great chemistry with Chris Hemsworth, Thor, that I want always to see more of her. So I don't know why they did that.
Oh, here we go.
There's a maniac who seeks to end us all. I'm putting together the greatest team ever.
Are you packed? Yes.
The interaction between Tessa Thompson and Natalie Portman, too, didn't seem natural.
Yeah, they were trying to be besties and like, hey, we both love this man. Like, obviously, King Valkyrie as a friend more than anything else, if that's what it appeared to be in the movie.
Almost was like they were pretending to be friends and they didn't really like each other.
Yeah, it didn't come a great. But that being said, Jane Foster, spoiler alert, she was supposedly ill during this movie. Not so much her as the person, Natalie Portman, but the character Jane Foster was ill. So maybe there's that too. Like, she wasn't, how drained you are when you're not feeling good. Maybe there was less effort on her part trying to make a friendship.
Right.
Just saying.
Well, what do you think the best part of the movie was for you?
For me, best part.
The goats?
The goats grew on me.
Yeah, in the beginning you see the goats and you're like, what is going on here? Goats. But then they had a funny role in the movie.
Yeah.
It wasn't overdone.
The goats were funny. I actually thought Zeus, played by Russell Crowe, was kind of funny in a way. Like, it's just surprising to me to see his character like that. I thought Korg actually stole the movie.
He always does. He's always a funny guy.
He was really, really good.
So what would you give the movie?
I think I agree with IMDb, 6.9. I probably would have given it a 7, so right around there.
Yeah, 7's, you know what? 7's a tough score, though, because 7's an easy way out.
Yeah, maybe.
Given something, all right, how about this? You can't give it a 7.
Oh, great.
What else? What would you give it?
Well, I certainly don't think I'd give it an 8, because I think Ragnarok deserves that. I think then it would be 6.
I agree. It's got to be a 6. Ragnarok, to me, is a 9.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah, Ragnarok was probably the best Thor movie.
I know, or at least for us, what makes a great movie is a movie we can watch over and over again. So that's Ragnarok for us. That's like Ant-Man for us. We can watch it over and over.
Yeah, I don't know if I would want... I guess I would watch this again. I don't know if I would need to watch it 7 times like we've watched Ragnarok.
Right. Or like off topic, Back to the Future.
Yeah, this isn't a Back to the Future. This isn't an epic movie that you're going to look back 20 or 30 years from now and think to yourself, wow, Thor Love and Thunder was ahead of its time.
Right. But certainly Ragnarok, I think, would have been that at the time.
Yeah, definitely. That's why I would say Ragnarok's a 9. This...
If
6.
Not 7. You can't do 7, then 6. I think that's fair all around.
I think 6 is a little low. Maybe a 6.5. I think 6.5 is fair.
I was going just rounded numbers.
Yeah, I think 6.5 is fair.
Okay.
I wasn't bored at all during it. There was some points where I rolled my eyes.
You rolled your eyes?
Couple times during the movie, I was thinking to myself, all right, that's a little overboard.
The only time I don't know if bored's the right answer, but when there's a ton of fighting, I just like kind of check out for a minute. I agree with you. I don't need these hugely long fight scenes in these movies. Yeah. I'm the same. Like, so. I appreciate some of the visuals, and I actually like how dark this movie was in a way, like the scenes and how, like I said earlier, I don't know if you're going to get that same feeling if you don't see it in the theater. So that's kind of important to me, because you might be saying it's a 6.5 at the theater, but maybe you would regard it lower at home just because a lot of the visuals, I think, were meant to see in a theater.
Well, we're friends from work.
Okay.
Let's end it there.
What's that mean?
It's from Thor Ragnarok.
I know, but I don't know.
When he sees the Hulk.
Okay.
And he's like, yes, we're friends from work.
Okay.
All right. Let us know what you thought of Thor if you saw it, if you plan on seeing it, which we did a poll on YouTube. We have over 3,600 subscribers now, Constantina.
That's amazing.
Which is fantastic. And we're starting this new podcast with the feed from these videos. You can find that over on unlockingthemagic.com. But let us know if you are planning on seeing Thor, or if you saw it, what you thought. Drop a rating in the comments below. We want to know what you thought of Thor, and we'll see you on the next video.
Bye, everybody.